Reed Duke on the top. And we see a very quick start right off the bat for Pyromaniac. He's got Armored Transport with a Madcap skills on it, applying as much pressure as possible to the Crypt Ghast and Dutiful Thrall of Rita Rabbit. All right, so here's an attack for 5. This could drop Reed down to 10, and it does. See if he has a follow-up play. We see that there's a Spark Trooper and a couple other creatures in the graveyard for Oscar, and it looks like he just does nothing. He's got 2 cards in hand and 6 mana on the battlefield, but doesn't have a lot of action going on, it seems. He's kind of put all his, eggs basket 1, as my friend Rich Hagen would say.
I believe I have used that phrase before.
Yeah, and his Armored Transport happens to be the receptacle for the eggs.
It's a perfectly reasonable receptacle.
It is indeed. All right, so it looks like we have a race on our hands. It's not a great situation for Reed to race here, but it looks like a top-decked Sky Knight Legionnaire is going to turn that into a 2-turn clock, most likely for Oscar, as he drops Reed down to 4.
Wow.
And Reed is in a bad spot. He needs to find a way to deal with one of these things like Executioner Swing, no longer get him out of this mess. Even with an Extort creature on the board, it's just probably not enough. He's at 4 with 2 cards in hand and 7 mana. He's taking a look at the situation. He's lining up an attack. He does have 2 creatures that he can use to block Armored Transport. One of them's a Regenerator, so it will live through it. But remember, Armored Transport, it says prevent all damage that would be dealt to it, prevent all combat damage that we dealt to it. So it's going to be able to just eat through. All right, well, there's a Balustrade Spy. Now, that's a pretty good one here, as he's going to get an Extort trigger off of it. It's going to get a grind. It's going to just mill a mountain, which really, I don't think that Oscar wanted that anyway. But it also, and very importantly, it can block Sky Knight Legionnaire. So right now, the Armored Transport can attack, and it can force Reed to trade off a Court Street Denizen just to block. Looks like Oscar's thinking about what he wants to do for the turn. He's got plenty of mana, 3 cards in hand. He's got a really tough to deal with Armored Transport, and he's got an active Treason as well.
Wow.
That's going to take the Balustrade Spy. Oh, he took the Court Street Denizen with it. Maybe he's got a white creature to cast too? No? Okay. He is going to attack with all 3 creatures here. Send them into the red zone. So the Dutiful Thrall and the Balustrade Spy are going to jump in front of the Armored Transport. So he took the Court Street Denizen so that he could force the Balustrade Spy to die. It's going to have to block, and that is going to bring Reed down to 1. So that's a good play there. It's the same amount of damage anyway. Whichever one he didn't take was going to have to get double blocked. Was going to double block with the Dutiful Thrall, and he decided he'd rather have the Balustrade Spy gone, as that gives him the win the next turn, and it does indeed. So Oscar takes game 1 versus Reed. It's pretty impressive.
Okay. So, something you don't see that often on a Magic the Gathering battlefield, it's a Frog Lizard. And where does that come from? And the answer to that is, over here in the graveyard, a rapid hybridization. So, right now, Silenced One is on 17. This is Daniel Botov, and he is up against Arsenal Munch. They are both at 0 and 1, and you see Paranoid Delusions coming down onto the Frog Lizard. And now that means that the graveyard for Arsenal Munch is getting huge over here. But he has an answer. 5 mana, Angelic Edict, exile a creature or an enchantment, go away.
It's a lot of exiled cards over there.
Yeah, there really are. And as you can see down the bottom here, 19 cards in the graveyard. There are only 9 cards left in Arsenal Munch's library. So, can he get silenced from 17 to nothing with just the 9 cards left in his library? He has Guardian of the Gateless. Oh, wow. The hits, they keep on coming. Ogre Slumlord. So there's your 3-3. Rat any other non-token creature dies, you're going to get rat tokens. They have Death Touch. This is a big deal for Silenced. Does Arsenal Munch have an answer? He's got 3 cards in hand right now. Kingpin's Pet comes down to begin the Extort race. 15 to 17 the live totals here. And Munch has one more. Oh, nice play. He's going to Shadow Slice. And that's going to Extort. That's going to go presumably on the Guardian. We just take a look. Where is that heading? In Cypherland. Yep, it goes on the Guardian of the Gateless. So that is now ciphered up. The Guardian of the Gateless will turn sideways into the red zone. 3 damage. Silence. This is the big whammy. You get 3 from Shadow Slice, 3 from the Guardian, 3 more from Shadow Slice, and a Kingpin's Pet. We said, how was Silence going to go from 17 to none? He's gone from 17 to 7 in 1 turn. So what does he have on the comeback? In Esper Control. Answer, Angelic Edict of his own that exiles another target creature. In this case, it is going to get rid of the Guardian of the Gateless. And now, Kingpin's Pet comes in, 2 damage, heading to Silence. Silenced drops to 5. And Arsenal Munch passes the turn with 9 mana open. They've both got tons of mana, but Arsenal Munch, of course, has seen almost his entire library. He's down to 5 cards. So now, Ogre Slumlord, thanks to Grisly Spectacle. Wowie. Ogre Slumlord, there's a rat joining the party. Arsenal Munch at double figures at 10. It's his turn 18. And he has nothing doing. Advantage to Silenced. 4 cards left in Arsenal Munch's library. Meanwhile, the Slumlord and the Rat come in from Daniel Botov. The last chance qualifier winner, 26-year-old from the United States. And now 1,000 lashes for the Slumlord.
They're just trading blows over there.
Wow, so good. Oh, you've got to love this. Sage's Road Denizen. That's huge with Arsenal Munch with only 3 cards left in his library. The Rat comes in. He's down to 6, 5. He's in trouble on all fronts. Where does he go? 3 mana, Orzhov Keyrune.
Yeah.
That's not going to do it. 2 cards left in his library. 1,000 lashes. Silenced. Falls to 3. There you see it. Top left of your screen.
Is this a blue creature?
Let's see. Last thoughts. It's blue, but it's not a creature. Wow. So good. Silenced at 3. Arsenal Munch at 5. Silence 1 will draw a card and then choose where to put this cipher ability. My guess is not the Ogre Slumlord.
No, but he can put it on the Rat.
Mm-hmm.
The Rat does have Death Touch.
That is where it goes. So now, in comes the Rat alone. Because Orzhov Keyrune can be made into a 1/4 with lifelink. And the block will happen. There you see, it has lifelink now. But more things die. So that'll be Ratcha coming at you. Silenced at 3. Munch at 6. 1 card left in his library. Will he know what it is? He's passed the turn. 1,000 lashes to 2. Zerichi Tiger. That is huge. Do you know what's been the great card of Sealed so far, Marshall? You know what I'm going to say.
You're going to say Zerichi Tiger.
I'm going to mention Zerichi Tiger again, yeah. We both agree it's not a great card.
Because during his upkeep, he can just activate it and not die to
and not die,
lashes.
potentially.
Right.
There's the result. Silence 1 is going to survive. Arsenal Munch, with no cards left in his library, dies to decking. Outstanding. Let's take you over to Marshall's screen. What do you got?
So, on the top, I have David Kaplan Gubafish, and he is playing against Jan Vandervecht. That's DZY. And DZY just found that plains. He has been operating on just 4 swamps for the duration of this game. You can see that he had a Basilicus Creature, a Balustrade Spy, a Millennial Gargoyle, a Devour Flesh, and a Death's Approach, all castable with black mana only. Meanwhile, David Kaplan has a pretty impressive board of Burning Tree Emissary, just a 2/2 on the board, but he also has an Ordrune Veteran and Syndic of Tides, and now an Ember Beast too. So a big turn for Goobafish. Right now, though, that Plains for DZY is going to allow him to probably cast some stuff that he's had in his hand for a while. It's also his 5th mana, which is often a kind of a turning point. Let's see what he hits here. Dutiful Thrall and Extort is what he has come up with. So not the most exciting thing, but actually pretty decent in this position as it will block. He is ahead on the damage race as well. It looks like he's lining up an attack with Millennial Gargoyle to drop Goobafish down to 9 and the Basilicus creature. So he's definitely considering the race here. He's going to take potentially 7. No, I guess the Balustrade Spies really is holding back Burning Tree Emissary and Syndic of Tithes. So he could potentially only take 3 damage on this attack. And if Goobafish doesn't attack with 3 creatures, and the Order and Veteran isn't going to attack by itself anyway. Ember Beast can't attack by itself anyway. So as the board, it's very delicate balance for DZY, but he actually is in a really good position.
Just want to mention massive moments for Rd2 here. Remember, he lost his first round match. He is 1-0 down in his second round match. He has no cards in hand, but he does have Oscar Jones down to 5 life and board position.
All right, so David Kaplan adds a Sky Knight Legionnaire to his board. And that could very well open the floodgates for a big attack here. He's still at 9. DZY only has 6 power on the board. Does have an Extort creature, though. All right, and then is that Sky Knight Legionnaire going to attack as well? You'd think if he's willing to throw away... I mean, the Syndic of Tithes is probably the one that DZY is the most worried about. Second in line would be the Sky Knight Legionnaire. The Order and Veteran. Yeah, he's going to leave the Sky Knight Legionnaire back, though. So that is going to trigger the ability from Order and Veteran. It's Blood Rush. Excuse me, it's Battalion. It's going to give him double strike.
I just want to show you one very quick thing, and it is this.
Oh,
Gideon,
look at that.
Champion of Justice, and that is for Oscar Jones against Rd2. Marshall, back to you.
All right. So this attack step has happened. There was a block and a regenerate, and now we're back on DZY's turn. He's untaps with 13 life. He does not have a lethal attack here as the board sits. He's mulling over his options. He's got 3 cards in hand, and he's going to go right to attacks. Just going to attack with the Gargoyle. He's going to offer a trade, and you know what? David Kaplan says, I'm going to take it. Post-combat, a Kingpin's Pet, and he does pay for the Extort as well. And it leaves himself conveniently with a Swamp Up. That's going to be able to regenerate Dutiful Thrall from the pending attack. All right, let's see what David Kaplan has as far as attacks. He doesn't have any. He's just going to pass the turn back. And DZY looks like he's dealing with a pretty nice board state as he has 2 Extort creatures. So if nobody can attack each other, that certainly benefits DZY. Also, DZY's got 5 in the air that he can attack with, and currently there's no blockers for it. If he had a spell and could pay for the Extort, he could theoretically get him down to 1 here. But instead, it looks like he just wants to attack for 3. He's not able to kill his opponent this turn, so he's going to plan on killing him next turn. He's going to leave that Balustrade Spy back for blocks. And what is he playing here? Another Kingpin's Pet. He's going to pay for both Extort triggers. That's going to knock Goobafish down to 3. He might actually leave up Regeneration here. Let's see if he decides to pay. He does not. So he's going to leave up Regeneration, and that's going to leave Kaplan at 4 life, but it's still lethal next turn if he can't find a way to deal with these Kingpin's Pets, and he cannot, as David Kaplan falls to DZY in the first game of their match.
What you are looking at on your screen is a Death Cult Rogue from Rd2, and he stays alive because that Death Cult Rogue, despite Gideon, Champion of Justice for Oscar Jones, Death Cult Rogue cannot be blocked except by rogues, and Gideon is not a rogue, and neither is Guardian of the Gateless. So, Rd2, wow, so close to being 0-2. He is now at 1-1 in this game. So, Marshall, what do you got?
So on my side of the screen, I have Budokov on the top, and he has a really impressive board state here. But Sam Party on the bottom is just now casting a Foundry Champion, which looks like it's going to take out Slaughterhorn here. It does indeed.
Wow. That's a lot of power.
But there's a lot of power and toughness coming in. He didn't bother giving it vigilance. Didn't need to. But there are profitable blocks, and that's the game. All right, so Budokov looks like he's taking down his first game versus Sam Party.
Okay, so we are just waiting for Pyromaniac and Raider Rabbit to have another go at their third game. That's where we're going to head next. They are still sideboarding. Let me just bring you game scores as we have. Malta home, Milda home is 2-0, a winner over Chris Hartman. Dmitry Budokov against Pardy, still going. Malka, a 2-0 loss to Hiroki Yamashita. Japan, reigning Magic Online Player of the Year.
You know, we
to a 2-0
noted
start.
His exceptionally high win percentage, and yeah, he's doing that here too.
So then we have Eklund, a 2-0 winner very quickly over Sidursky. Jack Sad. George Pinazzo, he is underway with a win over Andrew Shrout. And then we have Daniel Botov against Sean McLaren. They're still going. Kaplan against Jan van der Vecht, of course. And Reed Duke, Oscar Jones. That is where we're looking to go as soon as the players are ready for their deciding match. And Brian David Marshall is on the case, looking to get us an interview with the potentially the winner of that match, but I think probably going to talk to Oscar Jones regardless, because we want to find out a little more about him as the players gear up for this one. The round ticking down. These have been pretty blisteringly quick this second round so far. You can see the Magic Online screen on magicthegathering.com right now as we wait for this game 3 to begin. Looks like there's some pretty serious sideboarding going on in the Oscar Jones Reed match.
Yep. I'm going to take a look at where Arsenal Munch is.
Looks like we've got some magic to bring you while we wait for the rejig. I can tell you that DZY is playing Gooberfish. They're playing to get off the mark, remember. And you're just seeing a Vizkopa Confessor come down for DZY up against Slaughterhorn here for David Kaplan. And as a result of paying 2 life, Gooberfish will show a couple of cards there.
Yeah, Boros Elite and an Ordering Veteran. The Veteran is going to be exiled.
Sure. So if you're wondering where has that gone, well, that's over on this far side of the screen. You get a little exiled. There it is. There's that Ordering Veteran duly exiled, courtesy of the Vizkopa. Feeling shame.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, Slaughterhorn for Gooberfish, David Kaplan, the Canadian, intimately associated with Canadian Threshold, a true legacy and vintage player from days gone by. Top 4 of Worlds 2011 in San Francisco. Up against Jan van der Vecht, one of this new breed of modern streamer players. They go online pretty much daily and fire up assorted events. Lots of followers for Jan. At European Grand Prix, we're always asked to feature him in the feature match area. A lot of fans around the world be wanting him to do well. So Kaplan adds to his Slaughterhorn with this Ember Beast. So conveniently enough, it currently is paired up with a Slaughterhorn. Can attack or block as long as it has a teammate to do so. DZY down to 7. Jan van der Vecht from the Netherlands, 25-year-old. Sitting here with just this 1-3 Vizkopa Confessor. It does have Extort, though. So a chance to get some life back. But he is a long way behind on the damage race right now. And let's go across. Marshall, you have got us underway with...
Speaking of underway,
yeah.
we see on the bottom that Oscar has a blistering start with Boros Elite, Bomber Core into Court Street Denizen.
He's just straight up curved there, hasn't he?
He has absolutely curved out, and then he's played a white creature as well. So just an absolutely monstrous start here for Oscar.
And Reed is basically sitting there with what currently is a vanilla 2-2.
That's right.
It has no text box of relevance to this game right now.
That's right.
Because yes, he can make white creatures. Yes, it can tap something down, but only on his own turn, essentially. And so that's not... He's on D right now.
That's right. And it looks like what happened last turn is that Reed tapped out to play Court Street Denizen, and Oscar just played a Daring Skyjack, tapped it down with his own Court Street Denizen, and then bashed him. Here's a Death Cult Rogue for Reader Rabbit, Reed Duke. And another land for Oscar, and a Spark Trooper as well. He is just laying it on. It's also a white creature. It's going to trigger Court Street Denizen to tap down whichever one he wants. And I wouldn't be surprised if he just attacked with everything here.
Is Reed Duke about to open up 0-2?
Unless there's a smite in the works, yes. This is just a massive battle. He's going to send the 1 damage from Bomber Core right at Reed's head. It's going to leave him at 9. He's facing down 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 power coming at him on turn 4.
And the thing is, you would be thrilled to do this run of cards in a Boros draft deck.
Absolutely. Not even thrilled. Like, I would be like taking screenshots and sending it to my friends. Yes.
And there it is.
It. Wow.
Reed Duke, 0-2. Oscar Jones, underway with a win. Brian David Marshall is going to get you Oscar Jones, the winner of that match, as soon as he can, as soon as he's ready. We'll get Oscar Jones' reaction to being underway here in the Magic Online Championship. Meanwhile, David Kaplan, top of your screen, Gooberfish. Ember Beast, 3-4, paired up with a less than exciting right now 1-1 Boros Elite. On the other side, an Orzhov grinding deck. You see a very important permanent for Jan. It's Debtor's Pulpit. Marshall and I talked about this during the build. Such a tough permanent to deal with because it's an enchantment. There aren't many cards that players play main deck to deal with it. So that is sitting on the swamp, ready to tap a creature whenever Jan feels the urge. He's also got Vizkopa Confessor in play and newly acquired Basilica Screecher, so he has double Extort. Gooberfish, therefore, David Kaplan, needs to go big, and he's done that in part 1 by having a Zertar Swine.
That's a lot of beef for...
Yeah, but, of course, Debtor's Pulpit means whatever the biggest threat is doesn't exist.
Yeah, Debtor's Pulpit does a really good job of keeping Battalion from triggering. Wow. He's just going to bash that 1-1 in there.
Yeah, so you have to respect
Martial Glory
or aerial maneuver, and
I wrote my article this week about this kind of situation, and you can have there's a pile of cards:
Slaughterhorn, Skimbrand Goblin, Viashino Shanktail, and on and on and on.
There's also Boros Charm, Martial Glory. There's aerial maneuver, Shielded Passage.
Yeah, the interesting thing here though is because of the life total 16-7,
Pit Fight.
It's kind of difficult for Jan not to take the bait, because what's he going to do? Drop to 3?
Oh, no, he has to block. He's just deciding which one he wants to take the bait with.
Probably sacrifice, in a sense.
Right.
So, although that said, they both have only 1 card, so Kaplan does just have 1 card to represent all these things with. It's possible he's just got nothing, and is just trying to punch through. He can't get the Ember Beast in without attacking with the Boros Elite.
Well, I don't think... I mean, he knows it would... He'd have to have a plan.
Nope. Nope. There you go. He just went, I need to get the Ember Beast in.
Oh, you're right.
And I want to get rid of the Vizkopa Confessor because I'm almost out of gas. You have double Extort on your side of the table.
I see.
If you stabilize with double Extort, my Zertar Swine functionally doesn't exist. I need to get the board just a little bit clearer.
Okay.
So we go to Gooberfish. He's into combat. Of course, now he can't attack with Ember Beast because the Debtor's Pulpit is keeping Zertar Swine at bay, and Kaplan passes the turn. Back to Jan. Millennial Gargoyle. I'm surprised they didn't print that 13 years ago, really.
How come?
Well, would have been the Millennium in 2000.
Oh.
A millennial. It was just a flavor reference.
I missed that, yeah.
Yeah. It
What
wasn't
is
a desperate need for a 2/2 flyer for 4 with no ability as an artifact. So, DZY, 4 mana, here's Zorichi Tiger. He's at 8 to 13. Has his 2/2, and gradually he's assembling control, because although there's a lot of power on the other side of the table, functionally there is nothing on the other side of the table. There's a Zhortar Swine that gets tapped down by Debtor's Pulpit, there's an Ember Beast that can't attack or block alone, and Kaplan has no board right now. Up to 3 cards, now has Sky Knight Legionnaire, that's not bad. That can certainly tangle with things, potentially. Open up another partner for an Ember Beast to make that live, as the Debtor's Pulpit chooses the Zhortar Swine yet again, and as we've seen, now that Sky Knight Legionnaire does give Kaplan the opportunity to tangle in the red zone with his Ember Beast, as well as his 2/2 flyer. And potentially here, Jan will actually take it all. You can see his Zorichi Tiger is not yet live, it has Summoning Sickness, so gaining 2 life is not on the agenda right now. Dare he take 5, open himself up to a Martial Glory, open himself up, red, white, open himself up to a Scorch Walker. He's gonna have to just put his Zorichi Tiger in the bin here, I think.
I don't know. He can actually start to come back if he doesn't, so he might want to consider that. He's taken a fairly aggressive line here with his attacks. He hasn't given himself an option to keep that Tiger alive and play around a pump spell. It kind of depends on what happened in the previous turns. If he thinks that his opponent would have used a pump spell had he had it, he's only had the 1 draw step. Sure, he could have drawn it, but that's going to lower the chances that he has it.
You know, there's a Slaughterhorn over here already in the graveyard. What's he going to do?
Because the thing is, he takes it because that Zorichi Tiger can negate the attack that.
Oh, look at that! Oh, charm to the face. Gamble lost.
That's right.
Wow.
All right. Well, I've got Silenced One versus Arsenal Munch over here.
That was awesome.
And we see that is a really slow start for Arsenal Munch. He's got to have something here as he passes a turn with all this mana. Probably there it is, Grizzly Spectacle. And he's going to take out the Balustrade Spy here. Cloudfin Raptor, one of my favorite cards from the set. It does see a lot of play in Dimir these days, even though it's much better in Simic. What's the follow-up play for Silenced One? A Zorichi Tiger. What else? It's the card of the day for
apparently. That was game, set, and match to Kaplan.
So this is the last one out, is that correct?
This is the last game of the last match, yeah.
Okay. Silenced One is Daniel Botoff. And he is looking to be in a pretty good position with a 2/3 and another 2/3 facing down nothing currently, though you have to figure that Arsenal Munch has something as he's again past a turn with 5 mana and 6 cards in hand. Something like Executioner Swing would make a lot of sense here. This is an important post-combat play for Silenced One, though, as he also has 5 mana in 3 different colors, and he needs to keep adding to his board, especially if he assumes that one of these creatures is going to die. It's a Keymaster Rogue. He decided to cast this post-combat, which does not grow his Cloudfin Raptor. I mean, it does, but missed a point of damage there potentially, which is going to give... No, Arsenal Munch has nothing. He just draws his card and plays his 6th land, and it's Merciless Eviction to wipe the board.
Wow.
So huge play there. Both of those guys are exiled, although Silenced One is in a decent spot because he had to bounce his Zorichi Tiger. Normally a bad thing. In this case, he's got a follow-up play.
And it's interesting that Arsenal Munch has had that Merciless Eviction throughout these 2 rounds.
Yes.
But he is...
And he clearly had it in his opener as he crafted this entire game around casting it. As we see now, he immediately dumps 2 creatures on the battlefield that he would have played sooner, but decided to go for the big play. Again, Silenced One didn't get off to a particularly quick start either, so it gave him a little bit of a cushion to cast the Merciless Eviction.
So Grizzly Spectacle back the other way to get rid of the Guardian.
Yep. And no attack. from Daniel. Sean McLaren is going to attack, though. He says, sure. And Silence One just says, yeah, I'll take it. Doesn't want to trade his DZY Tiger. He knows he can get the life back later from it. And it's a Smog Elemental. Not the ideal 6-drop finisher, but it gets the job done if you can keep the board clear. It's still a 3/3 flyer, not efficiently costed, but still effective. It's hard to block, as it'll usually make anything that can block it smaller. All right, so Daniel is trying to decide what he wants to do. He has 5 cards in hand. He has plenty of resources to work with here. Looked like he had an idea and then kind of changed his mind. And it's going to be an Angelic Edict. That is going to take out the Smog Elemental and enable an attack from Daniel to knock Arsenal down to 12. All right, 7 mana and 4 cards for Arsenal Munch means he's got a lot to work with as well.
So this is the last game of the last round as we see yet more removal.
There's another removal spell. It's an Angelic Edict to take out, yeah, that's right, DZY Tiger. And Daring Skyjack is going to knock Silenced One down to 14. Now, Silence just hit his land drop. He's missed it for a couple turns, but he was already at 5, so not usually an issue. And he's going to play Devour Flesh.
And that's pretty reasonable right now.
That's totally reasonable.
Sort of in the mid-range of how awesome it can be.
Yeah. And it looks like Daring Skyjack is the guy that's going to bite it here, as Devour Flesh is going to leave the board with just Cartel Aristocrat on it. And Silence One is just going to pass the turn back. So Arsenal Munch surveying the scene here. He's just going to attack first. All right. Silence One takes it, goes down to 12. And what's the follow-up play? Well, it's a Syndicate Enforcer. All right, he knows that his opponent has Psychic Strike mana available here, so he wanted to be aware of that. He might have something a little better in his hand that he decided to run out the Syndicate Enforcer first. We'll see. And here comes a play from Daniel, as he's now facing down 5 power on an otherwise empty board. It's a Death Cult Rogue, which is pretty reasonable here. He can trade it with the Syndicate Enforcer. Syndicate Enforcer can block it anyway. He's got a follow-up play, though. Paranoid Delusions.
Oh.
So while this was a damage race, as the players are sitting at 13 and 12, looks like things have changed. And
see what went into the graveyard there?
A
mind grind.
So I think that they both know that they're both playing control decks, that they have very grindy decks with lots of extort and removal, and they want to try to get that big hit.
Well, right now, Arsenal Munch has 15 cards left in his library. You can see down at the bottom left of your screens. Up at the top, Silenced One, 21 cards left in his library. So he's comfortably ahead in that particular race right now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really one-sided, and it looks like Arsenal Munch is definitely going to be racing with damage here, as now he has a Shadow Slice that he can put on his Cartel Aristocrat if he wants. He can pay for the extort. He can attack. He can pay for the extort again after the Cypher trigger goes on the stack and copies Shadow Slice again. And he's going to make short work of Silenced One in this game if Silenced One can't come up with something.
And remember, the winner of this game gets to 1-1, gets to 4 points, opens their account. The loser will be in amongst the 0-2s, still trying to get their campaign underway, and that includes Rd2, who lost to Oscar Jones in round 2. Brian David Marshall waiting with Oscar Jones to get his thoughts on the Magic Online Championship at the end of this game.
All right, so it looks like Cartel Aristocrat is going to be forced to sacrifice Syndicate Enforcer, give it protection from black. As Cartel Aristocrat represents a big damage hit, he's going to want to keep that on the board because the next turn he can draw or play a creature from his hand and be able to attack with the protection ability and potentially finish off his opponent. No, it looks like he just let that happen. He wanted to keep his Syndicate Enforcer. Okay.
Silenced at 5. Arsenal at 14.
Last thoughts with no creature to
Whoa.
encode it, so he's just got to play it to draw a card. Sometimes you have to do that. You're not happy about it, but it happens. And he just has to pass the turn back. Basilica Screecher, pay for Extort, knock you down to 4, hit you for 3, knock you down to 1, then any spell can win the game for Arsenal Munch. But there's a rapid hybridization. But the Extort trigger is already on the stack. So he waited. He could have done that during his upkeep and prevented that from happening, but he didn't. And he's got a Corpse Blockade to help keep things at bay, but that Basilica Screecher is going to be able to attack him. This is a tight one. Silence is trying desperately to stabilize this board, potentially going to 3 here from the Basilica Screecher hit.
Yep, silenced at 3. His 1 card wasn't anything super exciting. Now here's a Sage's Road Denizen, part of the middle plan, but right now part of the Please Don't Let Me Be Dead plan.
That's right. Arsenal Munch still has 2 cards in hand.
Yeah, and you have to feel that Basilica Screecher is going to get the job done in one way or another. As we see, Guardian of the Gateless.
It just keeps piling on for Arsenal Munch. Extort is going to get paid for, and he's looking to be in great position.
Pretty much only Merciless Eviction.
Yeah, we're now in the position where things like that are what he needs. He could play a Guardian of the Gateless.
Yeah.
You know, there's other things, but
even then, he's at 1,
he's
so
dead
any
to Extort.
spell.
That's right. So things are looking really desperate here for Silenced One, but he's tapping mana. A Dimir Key Rune.
That doesn't get it done.
That's not even close. He still has 1 card in hand, though. What is it? He's going to activate the Key Rune.
Right.
And play Paranoid Delusions, essentially saying, I concede.
Yes.
Well,
let me show you what I had.
Yeah.
It's unblockable.
Actually, because he's at 9 in his library.
Yeah,
but he can't attack with it this turn.
Didn't happen.
Because he cast it this turn, so.
And now here we go. Boom.
And Sean McLaren beats Silenced One.
Yep, pretty much Sean McLaren, widely regarded as the best player in Alberta. The Canadians from that neck
of the woods.
Yeah, pretty much. I had a chat with.
He runs that province?
Yeah,